Less than 2 months from today, the world's best athletes will be in Paris for the 2024 Olympic Games. To get there, American gymnasts go through Fort Worth, where a two-time U.S. champion makes his much-anticipated return after a long comeback from injury. He's up against Team USA's newest star, who's hoping for Olympic hardware this summer after finishing on the world podium last fall. Plus, a young phenom from Stanford who looks to win his second straight national title this week. With all of them aiming for an Olympic podium this summer, the race amps up tonight. NBC Sports welcomes you to the 2024 Xfinity U.S. Gymnastics Championships. And we welcome you to the National Championships taking place here inside Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. 2 nights of competition for the men, 2 for the women, and the total added together to decide the national champion. And hi everybody, Terry Gannon along with Tim Daggett, the 1986 U.S. all-around champ. You ready to go?
I think so.
Here we go. Not only national championships on the line, but a big step toward making that 5-man Olympic team that will compete in Paris. One of the big names here, Brody Malone, who won the titles back in 2021, 2022, but then suffered a devastating knee injury in March of 2023. To say it was a bad injury is an understatement. I mean, he had to relearn to walk, as a matter of fact. Here he is at Nationals again.
Yeah, you know, for Brody Malone, his best and worst days in gymnastics both came because of high bar. In 2022, he became the world champion on that event, and as you mentioned, about a year and a half later, suffered that really devastating injury to his knee. You know, he needed 3 different surgeries just to put it back together, and he tells us that he didn't really know if he would have time enough to get ready for the trials process. But he's here, he's ready to go, and I'll tell you one thing, it's been a year and a half, over a year since he has competed under the bright lights in the all-around, but he has never won to wilt, and I don't think he will today.
He was a national champ a couple of years ago. Last year's national champ, Asher Hong, a star at Stanford. He is back to defend his title. When he arrived at the arena, Zora Stevenson caught up with him.
The reigning U.S. champion, welcome. How does this weekend play a role in your goal to get to Paris in the Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, it's very important. Obviously, it's 40% of the Olympic selection process, but, you know, it's a stepping stone, and, you know, we keep building towards the Olympic Games, and so we're going to use this one as like a building block. This isn't the final peak. Trials isn't even the final peak, because Olympics is the goal, obviously. But, yeah, it's super important. I'm so excited.
A lot of the guys out here know each other, either through Worlds or college. What's the bond like?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, we're all most of us are part of NCAA, or were part of NCAA at some point. And so, honestly, like, iron sharpens iron, and that's kind of been the theme. And, you know, we're all here to do our best for each other and to, you know, set that team up for the Olympic Games. So we're all super excited, and we're all, like, super stoked about this comp.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
So you want to peek at the Olympics, but you do have to get the job done starting tonight. Asher Hong trying to defend his title. How's he look?
Oh, he looks absolutely fantastic. And, you know, he's got the most difficulty of any athlete competing in this meet today, and he compares very favorably to the best in the world as well.
Another guy who's really emerged as a rising star the last couple of seasons, Frederick Richard. Not only competitive here, he went to the World Championships and made it to the podium in the all-around.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It was his first World Championships.
Yeah.
Just astounding performance for Frederick. But I tell you what, 2024 hasn't been as great as he wanted it to be. In his freshman year, 2023, he racked up every title at the NCAA Championships. This year, he had to settle for second. He told us that he loaded a lot of extra routines in preparation for this meet, and he says he's ready.
So national championships on the line this week, but also a big step towards making that Olympic team. The selection will take place. The 5 men will compete in Paris. With more on that, here's the 4-time U.S. all-around champ, John Roethlisberger.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this competition starts the process of selecting that 5-man Olympic team. And the key factor that the selection committee is going to look at is they're going to try to find the 5 athletes that provide the 3 best scores across all 6 events. At the Olympics and the team finals, each team puts up 3 gymnasts on each event, and all 3 of those scores must count. So it's not as simple as just picking the best 5 all-arounders from this competition and the trials. It's kind of a puzzle. You want to maximize your strengths while avoiding any major weaknesses. So tonight, if you hear about us talking about an athlete and say that routine could help Team USA, that means their stock went up. You've already heard about Asher Hong, Frederick Richard, and Brody Malone. They will certainly be factors. Yul Moldauer, Paul Judah, and Coy Young from the last World Championship team will make their case. But all these athletes have a chance to make a statement. But the bottom line is every routine from this point out matters.
All those names in the mix, certainly, but the man who could be the leader in Paris at the Olympics, Brody Malone. Tonight, we begin to find out whether he's all the way back from injury. The 2024 Xfinity U.S. Gymnastics Championships is brought to you by Core Hydration. Whatever wellness journey you're on, you have to start somewhere. Start at the core. By Nike, introducing the Nike Air Max DN, featuring dynamic air. The next generation of air technology is here. Air Max DN, feel the unreal. By Prevagen. And by Xfinity. Stream sports from the best seats in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. Who is that guy? But I don't even recognize him.
He's a handsome fella.
The all-around champ in 1992 added 3 other ones. Where is he at?
I got 6 off on that Iron Cross, by the way, at least.
That was a very nice look. All right, here we go. First of 6 rotations underway, and we get things started with the 21-year-old from Bowie, Maryland, Coy Young. Second in the all-around last year, also won the individual all-around championships at the NCAA.
And what a year and a half this young man has had. But right here on still rings, it's important to note, John talked about the puzzle pieces, right? Coy is so valuable to Team USA because of his strengths in certain areas. Pommel horse, vaulting, even parallel bars and high bar, but rings is not one of those events. He just wants to survive right here and show the selection committee that if needed, he can deliver a routine. But this is not an event that he anticipates competing on in the Olympic team final. Little bit of bent elbows. He's not as physically strong as some of the top gymnasts. Big dismount. Oh boy, that was
close.
Really scary. His hand pinged off the ring.
That smile of, yeah, I was able to land it, but it was really close.
Yeah, that could have been really bad.
Sigh of relief. Big Stanford star. Is describing it.
There is Brett McClure. He oversees the men's program.
All right, we talked about him. Frederick Richard really emerged the last couple of seasons, including that podium finish at the World Championships. First U.S. man to medal in the all-around at World since 2010, Jonathan Horton.
And you know, I saw Fred a few weeks ago at the Olympic Training Center, and he didn't really look as prepared as I thought he would have. Oh boy, and this is really struggling. Caught his foot on the horse and it completely destroyed his rhythm. And the other thing that happens when you catch your feet is you lose a lot of your momentum, and you got to get that momentum back, and that is very fatiguing. Got to fly up to the handstand.
Even that little bit of a struggle at the end.
He actually recovered a little bit better than I thought he would.
Been a big presence on social media, really wants to grow the sport, bring fans to it. All right, how about the 27-year-old from Colorado, Yul Moldauer, a moment ago on parallel bars, a Tokyo Olympian, the 2017 U.S. all-around champ, and a veteran.
And actually just phenomenal on this event right here. Once again, put that puzzle together. If Yul Moldauer is part of that Olympic team, they'd be looking for him to knock it out of the park and be one of those 3 top scorers at the Olympic Games on parallel bars. Super difficult, and the thing you notice about Yul is his body line is so pristine. Beautiful line, his toes are excellent.
And you see the scores in the upper left. So this was a moment ago, as I said. So that number for Yul Moldauer, the effort here on parallel bars. And those will keep updating as we go throughout the night.
And Yul has the 2nd hardest parallel bar routine in the competition. And this has been great. Just the dismount, a stick.
Well, would you expect anything else? That's what he does.
Yeah, that's a great start for Yul Moldauer.
You see that number, 15.4. The difficulty, the execution adding up to that. It's in the green. Give you a little guidance with those. The green is where you want to be. There's yellow, and then you don't want to be in red. Frederick Richard is in red, 12.85 for the effort on pommel.
Yeah, and he didn't do all of the difficulty. You see that 5.7 right there. He was supposed to do more than that, but like I said, caught his feet on the horse, and you see that 7.15. Every time you do a circle and your form is not perfect, the judges pen to paper.
So here is the 24-year-old from Rockmart, Georgia. We begin to find out where Brody Malone is in this comeback from injury. March of 2023. If you can name a ligament in the knee, he tore it basically.
Yes. Really big test. This first tumbling run is the thing that bothers his knee the most. It's a combination forward tumbling run, double front. Wow. That was spectacular. Double, double. Nicely done. Another front tumbling pass that's tricky on his leg. Little bit of a hop, and I believe he stepped out of bounds.
Looked like it.
The line is in, so you have to go beyond the line. It's just amazing, though, what he has had to endure. The first time he did a full floor routine, Terry, guess how long ago? 2 weeks ago was the first time he was capable of putting together a routine on this event.
That's amazing.
Little bit hoppy, but, and this is critical, the dismount right here, triple full. He's got to be tired.
Oh, wow. Hello.
He is the Iceman. I'll tell you. We got to travel out, like I said, to Colorado Springs, got to see him a few weeks ago, and I'll tell you, he was so intense. His eyes, they could cut glass, I'll tell you.
This event and vault, he said, were the most challenging to come back from that injury.
Absolutely, and I cannot overstate how gigantic of a routine that was for Brody Malone right there.
I'm with you, Tim. I was thinking the same thing. Absolutely. It's impossible what we just watched, given what he's gone through, to be that good on this event. First routine at a U.S. championship since he got hurt. Absolutely insane.
And so look at this right here. Big step, hop forward, and certainly his left foot was over the line. But after all of the surgeries, the rehab, the fighting just to be able to get to this competition, sticks the triple full, bam!
3 surgeries, had to learn to walk again. Shane Wiskus watching that, he can't believe it. And a lot of the other gymnasts were watching that routine. So we'll get that score for Brody Malone, 13.8. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a pretty good score. That 5.7, you know, I mean, he couldn't ask for anything better than that on his first go-round.
All right, so this is the man who was out there on floor prior to Brody Malone. Part of that Olympic team in Tokyo, helping lead the U.S. men to a 5th place finish, narrowly missed the all-around and the floor finals. 25-year-old from Minnesota, star at the University of Minnesota.
Yeah, but after Tokyo, he's really kind of struggled. And he said those 2 years were the toughest of his life. did not make the U.S. World Team 2 times in a row. Thought he had done enough to be on the last World Team. He told me I feel better than I have in a very long time. He's actually made some changes to his gymnastics routines, taken a couple of really tricky things out. He says there is not an event or a skill that I am stressing out about, which is a pretty amazing thing to say as a gymnast. Beautiful landing there. Same dismount as Brody, triple full. A little bit of a hop backwards, but this is going to get a very big score.
How many times do you go to a championship feeling that same way? There's not one event that I feel like I need something on.
No, that's a pretty rare thing to say. You know, I mean, you're confident, but there's always something that you're doubting just a little bit.
14.45, so into third right now here in this opening rotation. Another man who's come back from injuries, and I mean ankle, knee, finger, elbow. Part of that World Team bronze medal, the first since 2014 for the U.S. men at the World Championships. Paul Judah over on pommel.
And you know, Paul, what he brings is just, his execution is phenomenal. This was a little bit ago. Does a lot of incredible flare work, and his trickiest thing comes right here. Got to get back down into flares. Excellent. Beautiful extension. He has as good of execution as anybody in the world. Lacks a little bit of the difficulty, but boy, was that beautiful.
Had to withdraw from the Winter Cup in February. Some discomfort in the elbow. Another in the long list of injuries for him. 13.9, the quote-unquote beautiful routine.
Yeah, you know, and 8.6 in execution. And you know what? I think it was a little better than that. But that's, believe it or not, Terry, that is an excellent execution score. Only 1.4 off.
All right, how about the 23-year-old from Naperville, Illinois, suburban Chicago, Curran Phillips, a moment ago on floor. Also high hopes of putting his name in the mix for the Olympic squad.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, he's doing this event, floor exercise, purely to show the selection committee that if something bad happened to Team USA, he could fill in on this event. He is a 3-event specialist: vaulting, parallel bars, and high bar. Just decided to do one more event to show that he could be depended on. Great fight there on that landing. But his worth, he's not going to be competing in the team finals. Like we said, Coy's not going to do still rings in the team finals. He, if he makes the Olympic team, wouldn't be doing floor unless somebody else gets hurt. He's super valuable on parallel bars. He's one of the very best in the world on that event. Also great on high bar, where Team USA is a little bit lacking.
As John was talking about, it's much more complicated than just putting together, say, the 5 best or the 5 best scores tonight and at the Olympic trials. That factors in. You put that into a computer, try to pick the best team based on the strengths and weaknesses of different athletes. So 13.25, the number on floor for Curran Phillips. All right, earlier we saw Coy Young on still rings, 13.2. Yeah, exactly, Coy. It was close at the end.
Yeah, you know, I mean, his hand slipped off the rings, and when that happens, it is so easy to get lost in the air. Let's take a look right here. You'll see, I believe, yep, the left one, it just comes off so early, and that he has the wherewithal to put that to his feet. 2 flips, 2 twists after ripping off the rings, and he didn't let go. That his hand pinged off the ring right there.
And Tim, you know when you do that, usually your other hand is not far behind. I don't know how he did a one-arm double-double, but that's maybe you should get that name.
Here's our first look at the man who won the all-around title last year, became the youngest U.S. all-around champ in 34 years. Asher Hong on rings.
Watch this right here. Really improved this inverted cross. That is excellent position. Only a handful of athletes in the world can pull that off and show such a level stopping point. Very, very strong. And this is a routine that, you know, Asher really needs to bang out of the park, because if he's on that Olympic team, they are definitely wanting to use this routine, and why would they not if it's like this? Because fantastic so far. Does one of the most difficult dismounts in the world. Same thing as Coy, but he'll keep his body straight. Double-double laid out. Really good.
Says he's been dealing with some back pain lately, gets therapy, physical therapy a couple times a week at Stanford.
But you know, you talk to him and you try to get him to talk about himself, and he just won't do it. He won't go there. It is all about the team and being a member of that team that got the bronze at the last World Championships. That was so important to them. He says it's one team, one dream. We have a hive mind philosophy.
Even with the interview with Zora to start the night, when he arrived, he went right there to the team. And yes, it is a team sport from that standpoint, but you're competing against all these guys tonight. All right, get that number in a moment, but earlier on still rings, 23-year-old from California, Riley Loos. Three-time national champ with the team at Stanford, also an individual title in terms of the NCAAs back in 2022 on this event.
And he is strong as well. Watch this. He's going to push up from that lowered position. It's called a Maltese up to planche, and another inverted cross. It's very good, but not quite as level as we just saw from Asher. And for his Olympic dream to come true, it can happen because of an event like this and vaulting. He's very dynamic. So strong in that planche position. He told me it's his best quality. It saves him when he is in trouble, and boy, is he strong there. Dismount. Double-double. Little bit of a hop. So I think it's only been Brody that we've seen stick a dismount at this point in time.
13-9, Riley Loos. How about Yul Moldauer? Might have.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I think he did.
Way to call him out, Terry.
Yeah,
there you go.
Thought so. 14-5, the number for Asher Hong, and into third place. See upper left of your screen right there as we keep track of the top three. With the stuck landing, Yul Moldauer, 15-4. He's the leader here.
That's right.
And if you're Coy Young, you just got to hang on. Oh, my gosh. How did he do that?
Yeah, it's really amazing. I mean, this
but McClure is like, yeah, how did he do that?
Because it's like he could have gotten injured so easily.
Wow. One rotation in the books here in Fort Worth. So one rotation complete here in Fort Worth, and Yul Moldauer is the leader. Dallas Hale, who hails from Frisco, Texas, not far from here. Asher Hong, the top three. So Yul Moldauer moves to high bar, and in warm-ups a moment ago, Tim, this
was very good right here, but then check this out. And for those people that say gymnastics is not a contact sport, and that was scary. I mean, you don't know where your body is going, and you got to try with everything you have to orient yourself, kind of clips, I believe, his heel on the bar, and then, yeah, that does not feel good. And we've been watching him since then. walking around a little bit gingerly, stayed down for quite a bit of time.
Yeah, he did get up and walk away eventually. How about also Coy Young warming up on vault?
Well, his leg has been bothering him. I asked his coach, Tom Galimi, what is it? Is his knee or his leg? That's not the vault that he hopes to perform. Tom told me that it was his quad that was bothering him. Oh boy.
The other aspect, Tim, you know, it's about competition too, but right now as you lead up, as Asher Hong was talking about, you want to peak at Olympic time, got to avoid injuries too. And it's part of the game, but all right, looks okay at least right now. He'll be first up on vault as we continue. Second rotation gets underway here as the Xfinity U.S. Gymnastics Championships continue. First of two nights for the men. You add together those totals and you decide the national championship. Tim watches in the background, so do I, as Coy Young gets set on vault.
And the vault we just saw him do that he hobbled away on is not the vault he was planning on doing. He was going to add another half turn to it. And he does, and it's spectacular. Wow.
I think he's okay after the warm-up.
You know what? And everybody says this about Coy, but that is definitely bothering him. No doubt about it. But he is a gamer. Even some of his teammates at Stanford at that training camp told me, you know, it's like you look at Coy and you go, geez, he's just not going to be ready. And then the meet comes and it's like, wow.
Lights go on. He brings it. So he's okay after that warm-up. We'll see if Yul Moldauer is okay over on high bar after what we saw in the warm-ups.
And I would say that this is Yul's trickiest event. Here we go. Nice one-arm giant. And here are those two jam skills. That was fantastic. Here's the skill that he ripped off the bar on. As good as I've ever seen him do it. Got one major release right here. Got to grab the bar.
Oh.
Yul has long been thought of as not really great on high bar. Supposed to do a triple twisting double layout, and he does. Unbelievable. Oh.
Again, warm-ups don't matter.
Holy, that was spectacular.
Holy what?
Holy moly. That was the best high bar routine I have ever seen Yul do by a long shot. Right there, after such adversity. So a lot of gymnasts do a double twisting, double somersault. This is 3 times around, 3 twists, 2 flips, and hold on to that landing. Oh my.
Is that a hop or not?
That's a hop, unfortunately. That's a 1/10 hop.
To come back after the uncertainty that has to be in your mind after going through that warm-up and that particular move, that skill. So there's the number for Coy Young, 14.8 on vault.
Stratospheric.
Execution 9.2.
Yeah, and that, like I said, you know, not going to compete on rings, but Team USA definitely needs that vault in the finals.
Speaking of rings, we go over there now, and here is Frederick Richard. Energy, personality, brings all of that, but I think just watching him this week, even more focus right now.
Yeah, very focused, but, you know, it's hard not to be rattled when you start off and you're just nowhere near as good as you can be. Got to hold each one of these strength parts for a full 2 seconds. First one was good. Nice legs together planche, and here we go, 1 1,000, 2 1,000. Nice swing work. Once again, he's actually improved his strength holds, I would say, quite a bit. Needs to put this to his feet. Nice dismount and a very strong comeback after a struggle in his first event on pommel horse. The thing I like about what I see from this young man is every time I see him on rings, a few months has gone by, he's gotten a little bit stronger, and that is so critical because these strength moves are so, I mean, it is, you have to do it perfect or you're going to get deductions.
All right, so the number 13.25, Yul Moldauer on high bar.
Yeah, I think it was better than that.
Yeah, I was going to say, expected higher number than that.
I agree, Tim. I think they've got a bias from what they've seen before.
In the past.
It was just, he did those skills, those talk skills, as good as anybody in this meet's going to do them, and I think that 7.85 should be a lot higher than that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
7th place after that opening rotation. He was on floor. Brody Malone over on pommel horse now. Getting set. He said, you know, other than vault and floor, he's actually come back stronger on the other apparatus.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I would have to say that pommel horse is his most improved event. And that typically happens when you have a leg injury in men's gymnastics. You can spend so much time on this event. Has a lot of one pommel work right here. More one pommel work and keeping a pretty good rhythm. Not done yet, that's what they're saying. I'll tell you what, count Brody Malone out and you are not very informed.
It was that last run up to the Olympics, we really got to know him. Small town in Georgia, grew up competing in team roping and rodeo with his younger brother Cooper. And right out of the gate, you knew this guy was a competitor.
Oh yeah.
So we'll get the number for him in a moment. And a moment ago, Asher Hong, his effort on vault.
Terry, I would rather have stepped into a ring with Mike Tyson than to have done this vault. I got to tell you that. It's
yeah,
just,
be careful what you say. You know, he's fighting people now.
Yeah. Oh, unbelievable. 3 flips, 1 full twist, and just unbelievable how difficult this is. He has always been kind of an adrenaline junkie. Look at him pulling all the way around, spots that ground, and that right knee was ever so close to touching, but it did not touch.
Tim, the amazing part of that vault is he stayed on his feet. I know you and I know me, we'd be laying on that mat right now. That was astounding how he kept that from going to the mat.
Yeah, that's the hardest vault being done in the world today, right now. That vault
that one right there.
Yes.
You're good. Let's go.
Stephen Nedoroscik cheering for others, but a moment ago on pommel and a pommel horse specialist.
Yeah, he's a former world champion on this event.
First ever from the United States.
Stephen grew up in Massachusetts, so I had the pleasure to watch him as a young man progress. And when he started out, he did all the events, but then he just found his home on this event, and he is really something special here. Full turn on one arm, and then on the other arm, doing it the opposite direction. He has such a beautiful, extended body line. And he has a shot to be considered to be a part of that Olympic team. He's got to be phenomenal. 4 unbelievable meets, and he's got 1 in the books right now.
Maybe harder to be a specialist on one and make the Olympic team this time around, but you can't count him out.
No, you can't count him out. And what he has to do, if he is part of the team that has the highest potential score, when they look at all of the numbers, that score has to be 5/10 better than the next scenario for them to take a specialist.
I mean, look at this. Look at the numbers. Execution at 15.4 overall, and that's it for him tonight. That's his only event.
Yeah, mission accomplished for Stephen.
Puts a lot of pressure knowing you've just got the one event, though, huh? Even 14 still rings for Frederick Richard.
Yeah, that's a good score for Fred.
All right, there's a man we've watched for a long time, the 29-year-old from Baltimore, Donnell Wittenberg. Here's more with Jora.
Terry, Donnell Wittenberg is a 5-time world team member. In 2016, he was an alternate in Rio at 29 years old. Wittenberg is the oldest man competing at the U.S. Championships this weekend. He told me that he's done everything in this sport except make an Olympic team. He called a potential Olympic appearance icing on the cake. And when I asked about his will and perseverance, Wittenberg said, why not keep trying? He told me it's all about trusting himself. He's been doing gymnastics for years. These next few days, he won't try to be anything but Donnell Wittenberg.
It's an alternate in the Rio Olympics. Did not realize the dream the last time around and looks toward Paris to round out that career. A moment ago, the effort on floor.
And this is one of the events that he needs to deliver if he wants to be in the conversation for that Olympic team. Before the trials in 2016, I thought that he was basically as close to a shoe-in for that Olympic team as possible. He did not have an, oh boy, big steps and dangerously close to the line also. He thought he had done enough to punch his ticket to Rio. But just really powerful athlete. Floor exercise, still rings, and potentially vault. A lot of hops though. And you know, on an event that is important for you, you want to minimize that. He does a full twisting double at the end, and it was just a lot of little deductions over and over again. It was a solid routine, but one that he's not going to be happy with that score.
Grew up in Baltimore. He and his 3 siblings, raised by his mom, Sheila, and the dream continues, trying to make it to the Olympics. He's done just about everything else. 5-time world championship team member. How about the number for Brody Malone?
Yeah, 14-1, that's pretty darn good. It used to be his weakest event by far, but now you see that green arrow. That means that's really good.
So the 2-time U.S. all-around champ has been impressive. The 2017 U.S. champ has been impressive. Yul Moldauer leading the way here. The opening night at the U.S. National Championships in Texas. After 2 rotations here in Fort Worth, that man, Yul Moldauer, who heads the floor, leads the way. Asher Hong second, Brody Malone in third. Malone, there was a change in his number.
Yeah, on his floor exercise score, they gave him a 13.8 initially and had a 3/10 neutral deduction for both feet going out. I didn't think it was both. They looked into it and they gave him 2 more tenths.
You made a phone call.
Yeah.
And it changed. So Moldauer leads the way, but Asher Hong handing out strawberries. You get one from him?
Yeah, they look pretty good.
There you go. Back to remind you, Friday, July 26th, the Olympic Games return live from Paris on NBC and Peacock. July 27th, start of gymnastics, men's qualifying coming your way that day. How about Asher Hong in that last vault we saw? Tim said the best or the toughest in the world. John, take us through that.
Yeah, it really is. You know, Jordan dunking from the free throw line is impressive. Asher Hong just dunks from the 3-point line. This is absolutely amazing. Like Tim said, he does 3 revolutions from the board until he lands. So right there, that's 1. Keep going. Here comes number 2 right there. Now he's got to squeeze in 1 more flip. That is the 3rd revolution by the time he hits. Now, Tim, you mentioned, did his knee touch? That knee right there is the question. And I think it did. You didn't think it did in real time, but It looked like it might have grazed. Here's another look at it.
Yeah, unbelievably difficult. Like you said, 3 flips, but the judges can't look at this in slow motion. We're looking at that in slow motion, and it is very, very hard to see.
It is, but look where they're sitting. And you can see Mark Sherman there. He opened his mouth like, wow. They're sitting there, and his right knee is closest to the judge. So I got to think, you mentioned a 14 is a low score. I agree with you. They had to have taken a deduction for that knee.
They did, for sure.
Saw that reaction of the judge, but also before that, you saw the reaction of all of his teammates watching every single second of that. So we keep it right here on vault here in this next rotation. The man in 14th after 2 rotations. And so a little bit misleading sometimes where you are early in the night because you've maybe got higher scoring events still to come. Frederick Richard getting set now on vault.
Yeah, he's got some huge events that are upcoming. Great on parallel bars, great on high bar and floor. Just wants to survive here, but would really love a stick on this. He's capable.
Oh, so close.
Very, very nice. And I would venture to say that that was only a 1/10 hop. That didn't look like big enough to say that was 3/10. The judges, they're brutal though on that.
That's still in your head, right, from your competing days, your competition days? Man in 4th place after the 2nd rotation, Shane Wiskus getting set on still rings. Keep those top 3 in the upper left-hand corner, and they'll change as we go through each rotation, obviously. Sometimes names that we haven't seen yet, but eventually, right now, it seems like those names we expect are on top, including Fred Richard.
So perfect strength moves that have to be held for 2 seconds minimum. That one's beautiful. Lowers down to this Maltese. Pretty darn good. Another strength part. The more you do, the more tired you are. That one was possibly a little bit short. Swing combination. Oh my goodness. Wow. Unbelievable. His hand just slipped off the ring. Oh, you can see it right there. Yeah, he's missed. He kind of has a little bit of a false grip as he's coming over the top on it, and there's a device in between the leather in your hand. It's called a dowel that helps you hold on to the rings, but it kind of got on top of the ring a little bit. And when he came through the bottom, it's just almost no way to stay on. That is a full 1-point deduction, Terry. And this is an event where they would be looking for Shane to be able to certainly have a 4 up in the qualification of the Olympic Games. Boy, double-double, no problem on the grip on that time. I don't think that was a grip issue.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, Tim, because I was about to say, you know, Shane gets through rings. He's got 3 very good events to come up. He got through horse, still in that top 4, and you get through rings. He puts himself in a position to be a top 3 all-arounder, but a very unusual error on the still ring, certainly going to make it challenging the rest of the way.
So, John, didn't he only do the tucked one, and he didn't repeat it, and
Correct.
He didn't do a Johansson, the piked one, which is going to lower his potential score a lot.
Yeah, he didn't do the tucked one. He did get back up and do the Johansson, the piked double front, but I thought the same thing. He should have repeated the tucked as well.
All right, there's the number for Frederick Richard on vault. Executions a 9, 14-2 overall.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little bit higher, maybe 9-1, 9-2, but you know that's good enough for him. He's got big routines that can bring huge numbers down the pike.
Try to listen in as much as we can. We've got the mics out there. Number in a moment. Brody Malone, though, in third after 2 rotations. So far, so good in terms of the injury.
And you know, he told us one of the things that he had to figure out, he had to learn what his leg could handle. He said there were no throwaway turns. Every single time he did something where he was landing or punching on that leg, it was 100%.
I think the mental aspect of that too, knowing there's a finite amount of time. The Olympics are when the Olympics are.
They are. Really nice first position. Also does that inverted cross pretty darn good. Nice strength. That was a little bit short, though. That certainly wasn't the full 2 seconds. But one of the things Brody has had to do, even here, in preparation, in warming up, getting used to the equipment, he hasn't landed a lot of dismounts. He's been over-rotating them and sitting them down, and that's to make sure he doesn't stress his leg too much. But that's got to bring a little bit of anxiety. Right here, 2 flips, 2 twists, and this time, very nicely done. Just a small hop back on the landing.
A leader, but a quiet leader. Not doing a lot of talking.
Yes, sir. That's 3. Good work.
His teammates handle that. Shane Wiskus, yeah, there's the number for his still rings. 13:05. So Asher Hong's going to be on parallel bars as we continue from Fort Worth. Midway through this opening night for Brody Malone. 3 rotations down for him. Still rings number 14.4 into second.
Halfway through, and I'll tell you what, he couldn't ask for anything better than this.
How calm does he look? I mean,
ho-hum,
this is what I do.
You know, when we're talking to a lot of the different athletes, you can almost hear themselves trying to convince themselves that they're absolutely ready for the event, but there is none of that goes on with Brody Malone.
Hey, just to put that ring score in perspective, that 14.4 is 4/10 higher than any American scored at the last World Championships on rings. I know it's not necessarily at different judges, but put that in perspective. That is a big-time ring routine.
And remember, as a team, they won the bronze medal. First time since 2014. All right, the man in second after 2 rotations, Asher Hong now. Said coming in, I don't have to do anything special in my mind. I just need to do what I've been doing in the gym. Go 6 for 6.
And that's not easy, though, because like I said at the top of the show, he has the highest level of difficulty of any of the American gymnasts. Big release into the middle of the bars, nicely done. Really tricky skill. Pause just a little bit, maybe 1/10 of a point on that Makut's element. Oh boy. You move your hand, it's 1/10 of a point, and he did it twice. Dismount, but he can recover just about as well as anybody. He was a little bit over in his handstand. His heels got over his head too far, had to arch his back. Just a little bit shy of that handstand. That's 1/10, and you put it back, another 1/10 right there. Still going to be a very good score, but could have been 2/10 of a point higher. And actually, the judges, they're going to take a deduction for arching in that handstand as well.
Alex Diab on rings, the 27-year-old from Glen Ellen, Illinois.
And he's one of those specialists that, you know, he believes he has a shot. He has won just about every domestic title. He has won every domestic title that you can win on rings. U.S. Nationals, NCAAs multiple times.
Two-time U.S. rings champ, 2019, 2021, starred Illinois.
Perfect position and definitely well over 2 seconds hold. Towards the end of the routine, those strength parts like right here, it get so much harder to hold for those full 2 seconds. Full twisting double layout and a stick. That was good for him. Just a little bit ago, but
he knows it. 14-8 the number for the man who won the rings title recently at the Winter Cup, one of those events in the lead up to these championships. 5 in a row there.
You know, you dream of going to the Olympic Games, Terry, obviously, and he's dreamed of it his entire life, but you really want to give your best effort in the selection, and I would say he did just right there.
14-7-5 the number. Asher Hong back on top at the moment, at least. The top 3, upper left-hand corner there. So this man had the lead after the opening 2 rotations. Yul Moldauer getting set here in rotation number 3 on floor.
And we just saw a very big number for Asher on parallel bars. But this young man right here, he can get it done on floor exercise, no question. In his first major international competition, 2017 Worlds, first time out of the blocks. Got a bronze medal on this event right here. Really nice. Floor is all about the landings. Oh, very good. Was very patient on that. It's so easy to just decide to slide your feet a little bit because you're definitely not where you wanted to be, but he hung on to that. He made the finals at the Olympics in Tokyo on this event and had a mistake that was so uncharacteristic for him. Nightmares for years when you do something like that. Same dismount we've seen from a number. Triple twist, gotta get it. Put those heels together, that's a stick.
He just has a knack for that right there, landing those and sticking those.
Overall, there were 2 spots where he could have landed a little bit better, but when you take it as a whole, that was spectacular. That routine flies in the finals at the Olympic Games.
Mentioned that recent Winter Cup, he won on this event there and the all-around.
Triple twist, Gymnastics 101, fly high, and stick the landing, Mr. Yul Moldauer.
Just kind of looking around going, you caught that, right? You saw me stick that landing.
There you go.
And guys, he's put himself in a great spot to be the leader after this day 1 of U.S. Championships. High bar's behind him, most importantly, and he's got 3 very good events to come. He's the leader after 2, so Yul Moldauer, obviously Olympic team is important, but he could be a national champion, at least in the lead halfway through.
Yeah, he said he knows he's viewed as a veteran leader now. It's got to add a little more pressure.
He did win this competition one time in 2017.
Absolutely. Send it over to Zora now.
In addition to excelling on the mat, Gunther has found success on the internet too. The gymnast has a total of 1.5 billion views, yes, with a B, on TikTok. It goes up to 2 billion if you look on YouTube. Just amazing stuff. This all started in 2020 when Gunther wanted an outlet during the pandemic. He describes himself as an introvert, so he never expected this influencer stuff to take off. All the clicks and views are also helping promote men's gymnastics, something so many of these athletes are passionate about. One of his videos actually features our very own John Roethlisberger. A certain dismount is the subject. Just a little tease there, guys.
What? What? He brought back Roethlisberger's aura.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Look at this. This is the Roethlisberger right here. Oh, no.
I know. I gave him a hard time about that. I said, dude, if you're going to do my skill, you got to represent a little better than that. He actually does it way better than I used to do it, though, I'll be honest.
You know, John's going to do that at the end of the night. We're going to stick around for that. He's still going to do that. Still got it.
John has 3 elements in the rule books named after him. 2 of them aren't really being done anymore.
Thanks for pointing that out, Tim. Accurate, though.
Ian is going to do the 3rd one, the dismount.
So this was a short time ago.
You just got to have him keep competing, John, or it'll be extinct.
You are correct.
Such a nice young man, though. So humble and really does some great stuff, social media-wise, as we just talked about. Little bit of bent arms on that skill. You want to keep him completely locked out. And here we go. The Roethlisberger. Oh!
Oh, it's a thing of beauty, guys. You know, honestly, everybody talks about Simone and the skills that she does. But Simone's skills, they're like the moon landing. My skills are like the first guy to ever stick 12 Oreos in his mouth at one time. You don't tune in for it. There might be a 12-year-old out there that thinks it's cool, but you're not turning the TV on to watch him.
It's still named
still
after
cool.
you.
That's right.
That's
man.
all that matters.
It's still cool.
Absolutely.
13.65, the number for Ian Gunther. And now to Coy Young, who's in 5th after 2 rotations.
He's actually improved quite a bit on a number of events. This one certainly just has a beautiful line, and he does what you're supposed to do in gymnastics. You're supposed to do the hard stuff, and if you don't really know gymnastics, you're supposed to make it look like it wasn't hard, that it was easy. And he does that just about as well as anybody in the world. Like I said, much improved on parallel bars. Double pike. Oh, and money. You don't see that dismount as much anymore, not worth quite as much in difficulty, but in my opinion, way harder to stick the landing, and he just did.
Remember, this is the man who came in 2nd last year at the U.S. National Championships. The number for Yul Moldauer, 14.6. Upper left, you see, he still has the lead, 43.25, but they're tied at the top, so it's gotten even tighter up there. Ian Gunther with that routine and that landing. So, who's done it better? Gunther or,
oh boy,
we don't even have a date on that. A long time ago.
What is it?
Is that black and white?
Star Wars? What
is that black and white?
Oh.
I don't know, Johnny. That was one of the better ones. I give it to you, John.
Fly high and stick your landing, Tim.
Three rotations in. There's the number for parallel bars. Coy Young, 14.9. So that's good enough to put him overall in 3rd place at the moment.
Yeah, that is a huge number for Coy on parallel bars.
They're the 2 men at the top. And as we went to break, we told you it's the same number, 43.25. Yul Moldauer Asher Hong. It's the execution scores that break that tie, so it's Moldauer technically in first place, but we are just midway through the opening night here in Fort Worth. Back here at the Xfinity U.S. Gymnastics Championships, Terry Gannon alongside Tim Daggett, two-time Olympic medalist, including the team gold back in '84, and three-time Olympian John Roethlisberger. Zora Stevenson with us too. So midway through this opening night, Curran Phillips, 23-year-old from the Chicago area, continuing to move up the U.S. ladder, getting set on vault.
And his Olympic journey really starts here. He did floor exercise, but that was just a filler thing. He needs to show that he can really contribute on his 3 events: this vault, parallel bars, and high bar. Oh boy. And that's a shame. And you know, the thing about that is he was really going for a stick. And when you have a forward landing position, it is so easy. You see, he's looking down at his thumb right now. We heard that he kind of tweaked it a little bit. That's not the reason why he didn't make this. Really going for that stick, and is just a little bit shy. If he, you know, had a couple more degrees of rotation, instead of a 1 point difference or deduction, it would have been a stick. He spots the ground over his shoulder right here. And oh boy.
Current part of 3 team national titles at Stanford, was college roommate with Brody Malone, who's getting set to go next there. 13.5, the disappointing number. And here is Brody Malone, and that extra brace on the knee for this event and for floor.
Yeah, it's a big one for floor and vaulting. It's a little smaller, more lightweight on the other events. He said there's a chance he won't use it down the line. But I'll tell you what, he just watched his teammate sit down. He does a forward landing vault as well. And I think that will encourage him to be a little bit over. And that was great. Definitely, though, that 1 foot over the line, only a 1/10 of a point. I would say that was a 1/10 of a point hop and a 1/10 of a point for going out of bounds. But this is amazing. After the, you know, near career-ending fall that he took on high bar, ripping off the bar, to be doing so well, and not just kind of doing the all-around, but in the hunt, in the fight.
I don't want to overplay this, but you look for a wince or a facial expression, pain-wise. I haven't seen any of that.
No, you're not going to see that from him. It hurts. There's no question about it. And he has said that there's that 1/10 penalty for going off to the side. Yeah, they've been pretty brutal on the execution scores. 8.9, more than a point off.
Take you over to rings. 4-time U.S. rings champ Donnell Wittenberg, who, by the way, is the cousin of Derek Wittenberg. You maybe remember him if you're a basketball fan from the 1983 national championship at NC State. That final shot slash pass for the dunk. And there was another guy on that team.
There was one, Terry Ganner.
He's calling gymnastics now, sitting right next to you. Yeah.
I heard he was wide open in the corner on that play. Someone told me.
Could have been a star. All right, here we go with Donnell.
And this is one of his big events, rings and vaulting, where he has the biggest bang to be able to help Team USA. Actually has a dismount named after him, a triple pike somersault that I don't know if we'll see for another 10 years in the sport of gymnastics. So hard. Really good strength positions. Oh boy, right there though. Missed that handstand. Got to put it to his feet. And, you know, not just one step, but multiple little steps, adjustments, hops. It's just he kind of doubts himself at that moment and doesn't take a little bit of a break. Double front right into this strength part, perfectly flat. Look at that right there. You also have to swing and be able to go to a handstand, and right from the start, his legs are a little bit off. You see he bends his elbows, bends his hips. That is going to be at least a half of a point deduction. And let's watch the landing. I mean, maybe not a perfect step, but you see that step and then step. It's just every time you take a step, a hop, a slide, it's cumulative.
You are absolutely correct about all those mistakes, but as a basketball player, can I just say this? I am continually amazed at what these men do on rings. Everywhere else too, but especially there.
Well, I'm a gymnast. I was a gymnast, and I'm amazed. How about you, John?
I don't think what we did equates with what's being done today, but that ring routine, you mentioned how important it is. He's one of those guys to compare to Asher Hong, who's going now. Those two are kind of going head-to-head for their events in that spot on the Olympic team.
Here's Hong on high bar.
And historically, this has not been his best event. Biggest test right here. Got to grab the bar. Excellent. You know, he's a smaller person, and he says for so long it was hard for him to bend the bar, to pull it down. The bar goes down, and then it will pop you up in the air. Took him a long time to figure out how to get that bar working for him. This is excellent routine. Like Yul on high bar, this is not where he shines the brightest, but just like Yul, that was the best routine I've seen him do.
Playing to his teammates, playing to the crowd in the front row. He knew it was good. Back here to defend his title. But among others, taking on a man who's won this title twice in Brody Malone.
And it's still a long race at this point in time.
14-3-5, the number for Donnell Wittenberg on rings.
And that's a good routine and a good score, but Brody Malone has a higher score. And Donnell definitely was looking to be in the 14-7, 14-8 range.
There's certain names already in the mix. You kind of assume if they do what they normally do, they're going to be there. And then there are others who are just on the outside looking in and need something spectacular here this week.
Something spectacular on the events that matter most to them, and that was one of those events for Donnell Wittenberg.
13-3-5 on high bar for Asher Hong.
And Tim, that's what I was alluding to. Asher Hong and Donnell Wittenberg, similar gymnasts, and their strong events are the same. So you got to kind of compare them. Asher Hong, advantage on rings. We'll see what happens on vault.
And we'll see what happens with Yul Moldauer in the lead going into this fourth rotation on pommel horse now.
Another scissor, this one up to a handstand. Very well done. Some one pommel work. Has a great swing on pommel horse. Now he'll break into his flares and can really do this stuff well. Nice extension, good rhythm. Little bit of a struggle right there, but back right on track at times. And that is, wow. Don't know if I've seen him come off at that point in time, but
you could see it a little bit once he got to the middle. His elbow started to bend a little bit.
Well, he caught his heel. I didn't see that a little bit earlier there. And going across the horse, not bad. Here's where he had that problem, and just he was supposed to not step in the middle of the horse. again, and he took one more step in the middle and probably has never done that before. This is the right way to do it, just 2 in the middle and then 2 right to the end. Dismount's got to fly up to a handstand, and pretty good for him. But 1 full point off, and that is going to hurt for him. This is a place where Team USA needs 3 really strong scores, and I don't know if they have them quite yet.
Remember, he was in the lead, but that number, it was tied with Asher Hong going into this 4th rotation. You got tonight plus 1 more night for the men to decide the national championships. Yep, sigh of relief for Asher Hong. We'll get the number 4, Yul Moldauer, in a bit. Work on Yul Moldauer and a costly number for his routine on pommel.
Yeah, that is a really, really big hit for him. 6.75 execution. You take the full point off for falling, but lots of deductions in that routine.
Last year he was 5th in the all-around at the U.S. Championships. And here's the man who came in 2nd last year. In 3rd going into this 4th rotation, Coy Young over on high bar.
And he has told me that his best quality is that not many things move him. He doesn't get rattled. And if I were going to choose a quality to have in an Olympic trials, it's that one. You don't want to be rattled. And really nicely done. Have to go right to a handstand on these elements. Another one right here. Very aggressive. Big release for him right here. Gorgeous. Coy's great on vault. He's phenomenal on pommel horse, but he has improved so much on events like this. High bar. Oh, yeah. Baby. And that is exactly what you want to do.
That's the 2nd time tonight he had that look on his face at the end. Again.
He makes great decisions when it matters most. A lot of guys would have taken a little hop, but he just hangs with it and gets the stick.
Okay, we'll get his number. But a moment ago, the man in 9th going into the 4th rotation, Shane Wiskus on vault.
Same vault we've seen a bunch of times. Brody Miller did this vault. Double flip, straight body with 2.5 twists. Really nicely done.
Yeah.
They have been brutal in execution scores, and once again, they still are. 9.1.
Should have been higher?
Well, not a lot higher, but I would have thought that would have been at least a 9.2.
So 14.3 is the number, 2nd on vault. Number 13.75 for high bar, Coy Young.
Great score, and 2 tenths harder than he did last year.
And just ahead of Asher Hong as you look upper left at the top 3 at the moment. How about Colt Walker in 4th after the 3rd rotation?
So the other day in training on this very apparatus, Colt was getting ready for his dismount, and he torques the bar at the bottom like you have to do on a dismount, and the bar snapped in half. He ripped off, landed on his back, and his knees went over his head. Very scary. Nicely done. Another major release here. Big gymnastics from Colt. And, you know, he has had a very tough road because he suffered an injury that has kind of damaged a nerve. Great job, really strong. Damaged a nerve and kind of weakened his leg. And when he was younger, his best events by far were floor and vault. Had to completely remake his gymnastics. and has done an amazing job.
Yeah, really had a breakthrough year back in 2022, but then those injuries that you mentioned, been tough since. Was an alternate for that World Championship team where the Americans won the bronze medal. Coy Young with that number, 56.65 on top. Stanford guys pretty good, by the way.
Yeah, they are.
Rotations in, opening night here at the Xfinity U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Coy Young, there he is with the lead. It's close at the top, though. Asher Hong right there. Brody Malone, who's got two of his better events still to come.
Yeah, he absolutely does, but so does Coy Young. And Asher is no slouch as well.
So what you're saying, it's going to be close.
It's going to be really close. This is a great outcome for Team USA so far.
Colt Walker in fourth. Yul Moldauer had the lead through a couple of rotations. Now rounding out the top five. And how impressive has Brody Malone been to this point? Like he's never been away, like he was never injured. Part of that path back and the path to Paris. Over on parallel bars now.
So he's got parallel bars and he's got high bar remaining. Coy has floor exercise and pommel horse. They're both great events for both of them. Going to be really tight. Has a very relaxed look about him. Never gets flustered. What I love to see. Big release. Nicely done. Doesn't have quite as much difficulty here, but the next event, high bar, knocks it out of the park. Double pike. Oh, and a couple of hops right there. I have not seen him put that to his feet here. Intentionally, he has been over-rotating all of his dismounts, and it's hard, you know? I mean, he's doing that intentionally, so he saves his leg. Looks good in the air, just a little too long. Takes a hop.
Yeah, I talked to Brody after the last rotation. I said, "You having fun?" He had a big smile on his face, and he said, "Yes." But you know how I know he's back? Is he was mad about vault. It's not enough to just go and do a vault after a major injury. He's already at the point where the bar has been set higher, and he wanted to stick that vault. He wanted to keep it in the line. That's how you know Brody's back. He expects a lot of himself.
Before that routine, a 1/10 of a point behind Asher Hong, who is in second place and who's getting set over on floor.
And this is a huge routine right here. I believe he has the most difficult routine, and yes, he did step out of bounds.
There's the flag.
1/10 for going out of bounds, but that was a 3/10 step. Now watch this. Makes this look so easy. Double twisting, double layout. I made it look easy like that on a tucked backflip, John.
You're kidding. No, it didn't look that easy, Tim.
It didn't look easy to me.
This is a great routine, but too many hops, Tim. You mentioned a 3/10 hop out of the gate, and I don't believe he's stuck a landing yet, and that's going to add up.
That's good. You can't, if you can fit more than a fist between your head and the floor, it's too high, and you lose credit for it, get deductions. Whoa, baby. And that was a great save, though, because he was a little bit over on that 2.5 twist.
The flag went up again. He went out of bounds.
Triple twist. And right there, not just one, but 2 hops. And maybe more important than that is his body position. He is bent in the hips, very, very low to the floor. super difficult and makes it look so easy. Double twisting, double somersault in a laid out position. But the hops, as you mentioned, John.
Yep. Brody Malone, a 14.55, just to give you some comparison. You know, he's a 10th behind, as you mentioned, Terry. He's moving ahead of Asher Hong, no question about it after this rotation.
And he's still got high bar left where he won a title.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's the number, 14.55, as John just mentioned, and up there, 71.05 into first place. So the number for Donnell Wittenberg in 11th place going into this rotation. So before that effort, and here it was on vault.
Was planning to do, I didn't see this when it was happening live, so was planning to do that same vault that Asher Hong did 3 times around. And there it is, and he puts it to his feet. Well, the knee didn't go down there.
A little better than Asher's.
14.45, two-time U.S. vault champ back in 2014, 2017. That long career, which is still continuing. All right, that's the number, 13.9 for Asher Hong, with all those mistakes adding up.
Yeah, that was costly for him, absolutely. And, you know, I didn't really think that he would be in the hunt for the top spot. He goes to pommel horse on the last event, and that is not his best event.
Moldauer on rings.
Really needs a big exercise here. Fell off on pommel horse in the last rotation, got a brutal score. Very nicely done. Level iron cross. Does this combination extremely well, and right to the cross. You gotta finish the element in the cross. You can't come in a little bit too high, and he does that very nicely. Dismount. Little slide back. Solid routine for Yul.
Not quite as good as the start that he had tonight overall.
No, definitely not. I mean, he was lights out in the beginning, and he's been really good. It just, you know, that fall on pommel horse, that's devastating.
You know, he talked about it coming in. He said, yes, you want to peak at the Olympic time, but I feel like I've been in routine shape for the past 6 years. Now it's about endurance. It's about the details at this point. Over to high bar. Frederick Richard. Yes, he does want to be known as Frederick. Used to know him as Fred. John?
Yeah, I talked to Brett McClure, the high performance director for the U.S. men's team, and I said, what are you looking forward to in the second half? What do you want to see? And the one thing he said is, I want to see Fred step it up. He's got 3 great routines to finish, but he wants to see him get back in this, and this right here might be the highlight of Fred's 6 events.
He's actually capable of doing a harder routine. It's super hard. Big release right here. Very nice. Another one. Do this in tucked position. And now he wants to connect a bunch of releases in a row. Right here. Nicely done. Has one other major skill that he says it's fine, but he just wanted to get through cleanly. Looking for a handstand here. Pretty darn good. Tough young man right there.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what Brett had in mind, guys.
That'll definitely, I would imagine that will move him up without a doubt.
Hey, pedestrian comment here. When it's done well, anything look cooler than high bar?
Oh no,
It really looks cool.
It's the ultimate. You thought that was great, and it was, but just how great that was,
I know what you're going to say.
Brody Malone is another level above that.
Yeah. Still to come. That's his last rotation. Still rings number, Yul Moldauer, even 14.
Let's go, Tay. Let's go, Tay.
So in terms of those that have competed here in the 5th rotation, it's Brody Malone on top. All right, moment ago, Patrick Hoops, the 22-year-old from Utah at the Air Force, this is what he does. New pommel horse contender, won this event recently at the Winter Cup and the NCAA championships.
And he's special on this event, really. Just so many spins on one pommel. Has a beautiful look. Has been great on pommel horse for a long time, but he has just taken a huge step in his progress, you know, fairly recently. It was beautiful. We saw Nedoroscik on pommel horse earlier. I would give the edge to Nedoroscik. I don't know what he gets for that score.
14.95 is the number for that.
Yeah, Nedoroscik had a 15.4. I think the judges got that right.
High bar number 14.4 for Richard.
Yeah, and once again, the execution scores have been just, you know, really, really brutal.
All right, over to floor. Second to last rotation for this man, the leader heading into the 5th rotation. Coy Young.
And you know, we were talking about it at the top of the show. He was doing a lot of limping. And certainly floor is the most punishing if you've got a knee or a quad problem. Beautiful double layout and a stick. If it looks like they're rushing, they are. You have a maximum time limit, and they jam-pack so many elements into this routine that it forces, oh wow, that was tremendous. Super difficult, maybe doesn't look that hard, but that 2.5 twist, it's called a Randy on floor. So challenging to do, and just like rocks the landing. One of those guys that when the lights are brightest, he gets better. Couple of hops there, but gonna be a very solid score for Coy.
That is the thing with Coy Young. You watch him practice, podium training, warm-ups, you're not going to get the best read. When the lights go on, competition begins is when he brings it. It's pretty good quality to have.
Yeah.
All right, how about Curran Phillips? Just a moment ago, over on parallel bars.
So this routine right here, if you look at all of the maximum potential scores in the competition, this is the highest maximum potential, 16.9, higher than everybody else on any event. In a lot of ways, I believe it would be harder for Curran to make it to Paris than to win a medal there. That's how good he is on this event. So far, this has been spectacular. Big release. Just an exhausting routine as well. Just to dismount, put it to your feet, and You know, he had that big hop, but that is a Mongo number right there. And you see that 6.9. I believe the next highest start score is Brody Malone on high bar, which is 6.7.
Coy Young 14.15, needed 14.4 to take the lead or stay in the lead. So it is Brody Malone now, the two-time U.S. all-around champ, who's got the lead. Wow.
After he completely mangled his knee about 15 months ago.
Colt Walker on floor begins.
Oh boy, and a big bounding step forward. 1/10 of a point for 1 foot out, but more than 3/10 of a point for that step because they'll factor in body position as well. And he really, and that is, you can't do that. That is the easiest skill in his routine, and he takes a little slide backwards on it. Colt has been able to do that skill, I would guess, since he was maybe 10 or 11 years old. It's kind of a filler thing that everybody does, and you can't give away a 10th on that. And he really needed to capitalize here. He goes to pommel horse in his final rotation, and historically it has not been a great event for him. And I'll tell you, I've seen him struggle a lot here in Fort Worth in the training.
You know, we talk about this, the national championships plus the Olympic trials, and he'll eventually choose the Olympic team. You got to get to the Olympic trials first. That man just missed it last time around in the lead up to Tokyo. 7th heading into this rotation. Shane Wiskus a moment ago on parallel bars.
And this is a beautiful event for Shane. He's great here. The problem is for him, basically everybody on Team USA is pretty darn good on P-bars. So even though he's a world-class athlete on this event, rocking it on this event doesn't really do as much when they're putting that puzzle together, because they got a lot of guys that can bring in that big number. Very nice. Kind of fumbled his hand or arm a little bit on the bar, but can really fly on this. Nicely done. So hard for that skill. It's called a Bopsar, named after Raj Bopsar, great U.S. champion. Dismount, double front somersault. And that was very good.
14.5 the number on bars for Wiskus. Speaking of the trials, maybe up to 18?
Yeah, I would say they won't go beyond 18, and I don't think they'll go less than 15.
Okay, all right. 13.6 for Colt Walker on floor exercise. Those mistakes talked about, including stepping out of bounds, but that man right there, all the questions about the injury, he is back. Five rotations in, one more to go here on the opening night of the Xfinity U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Brody Malone leads the way. It is that name. Terry Gannon back with Tim Daggett. And Tim, all right, 5 rotations in here. What stands out for you to this point, and what are you most looking forward to in the last rotation? I think it might be the same thing.
It is, Terry. It's Brody Malone. Unbelievable comeback from a devastating injury. But the thing I've been looking forward to most all night long is Brody Malone on high bar. He's a world champion on that event, does as hard a routine as anybody in the world. It is spectacular. going to be great.
All right, how about disappointing to this point? Frederick Richard, who had high hopes coming in, still does, but it's night one. But to this point, maybe disappointing.
Going into the last event of night one, I believe he's 7th in the all-around. He didn't think that that was going to be where he was sitting.
Yeah, so we'll see. Got close there in the 4th rotation. Brody Malone now has taken the lead overall. The 2-time U.S. all-around champ leads the way on night one. That expression all night long. That's what he does. And he wins a lot, too. Brody Malone in first place heading into the final rotation. So 1 rotation left. John Roethlisberger, what are your thoughts so far?
I mean, it's the obvious headliner is Brody Malone and what he's done. You know, Tim and I said right after his injury, we said he's going to do all around again. We just believed it because we know what kind of person he is. And it's good to see what we thought would happen, but I don't think either one of us thought he'd be in position to be leading the U.S. championships in his first all-around competition. But also, I don't want to miss the B story. Coy Young is right in position to be leading the U.S. championship. The guy goes to Worlds, wins 2 individual medals, wins the NCAA championships. Let's not overlook what that young man has done and what he can mean to Team USA.
Yeah, and he goes to his best event, in my opinion, pommel horse next, where he won a silver medal at his first World Championships.
The top 2 guys going to their best events to take the lead after day 1. What more could you ask for?
Oh boy, and Asher Hong on pommel horse, that was a very big deduction. He was going up to the handstand, his momentum stopped, and he came back down a little bit. And we have seen some pommel horse execution scores that have just been brutal. Back on track, but sometimes needs to open. And that is another very big mistake right there. And yeah, he's going to finish, but he's wondering if he should do another dismount. I don't think it would be the right decision to do. He didn't do a hard enough dismount. So that costs him 3/10 in difficulty, but it also costs him because he didn't get to the handstand. But look at this right here. See, his legs go back down, and then he presses up to a handstand. That's got deductions all over it from start to finish. And then this dismount, he's supposed to go up to a handstand. That's not even close. I don't know. That was at least 3/10 of an angle deduction on that dismount, on top of the 3/10 that he lost.
And he was a little more than half a point back in third going into this rotation, the last one. How about Yul Moldauer, who was excellent through the first couple of rotations, had the lead. He's now on vault.
And you've said it, Terry. This guy, he can be on fire in the sticking department. Oh my goodness. And not even a stick, but a really squatted landing and completely off the mat. Remember, before the meet was even going on high bar in the warm-ups, he ripped off the bar, and he was grabbing his hip after that happened.
Yeah, that was to open up the night, and it took him a while to get up and walk away from the area.
Yeah, just not a lot of power on this, and yeah, that knee definitely went down there. Both feet completely outside the area. We've seen some really harsh execution scores on a lot of events. Vault has been one of them. I can't imagine that this isn't going to, and the hand down as well.
Up and walking okay at the moment. Ooh, yeah, that's a low number. 11.75. Asher Hong, his final event of the night.
You do not want to get an 11.
So before we eventually see Brody Malone over on high bar, we get this man, Shane Wiskus, his final rotation.
Had a very good go today. We've seen some wild things from Shane in the past. Barely hanging onto the bar with one hand on one of his major releases. He's taken that one out. Only does it in the tucked position now, and that was beautiful. Nicely done. And now he'll try to connect. Some releases as well. This is beautiful. This is exactly what he should have done. He struggled every time he had that higher difficulty routine. And so not only did it cause him to fall a lot of times, but he couldn't show the event off at all. And he's great here. Really good decision by him and his coaches. Double-double laid out. Hop forward. Beautiful routine. That routine plays well at the Olympic Games, even in team finals.
Yeah, that was great. Great effort here. And just outside the top three heading into this final rotation, Shane Wiskus. There's the number for Yul Moldauer. You knew it was going to be low on vault, 12.65.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what we just saw with both Yul and Asher with their scores. I would say Shane is going to move in front of both of them.
Come on, this is easy for you. Get
Remember,
that ball.
Malone, Young, Hong, and then Wiskus heading into this final rotation. Over to pommel horse. And the last two athletes been watching over here. They've struggled prior to this routine. Second place, heading into the final rotation, Coy Young. About a quarter of a point back.
I would venture to say he's as close to an artist on this event as you can be. Just so beautiful. Oh boy. But that right there, probably gonna lose close to a half a point on that. This is tricky right here. Back down into flares, gorgeous. Has so much extension, and look at another little bit of a hiccup there. Has so much height. His hips are way above the pommels, which is exactly what the judges are looking for. Beautiful swing. Oh no. Once again, kind of caught a body part on the horse.
Oh my gosh.
And that is bad right there, because that is not a dismount.
He's going to have to do it again, I think,
Yes.
Tim.
You know, it's shades of, remember Kohei Uchimura, the great Japanese gymnast? At an Olympic Games, he had a fall like that.
Tim, how difficult is this now? They're deciding right now to get back up there and do that ending.
But that's not going to be the difficult part. The biggest difficulty is figuring out if he should get up and do it again, and he does.
And I think, Tim, in that situation, he already had a fall. They're going to count a fall no matter what when he landed on the mat. So that's a foregone conclusion. So you might as well go back up, do the dismount again, at least get credit for it.
Right. By him doing that dismount again, he can't erase the 1 point deduction right here. You have to finish near a handstand, nowhere near that. So there is no dismount in the routine, which gives you 5/10 of a point. And the skill itself is another 4/10 of a point.
Hey, you see the top three, Shane Wiskus? I mean, that's a number that is solid right now with what we just saw.
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll get Coy's number in a moment. High bar number 13.5 for Wiskus.
Let's go! Come on!
Yeah, that's, once again, what I like to see from the judges, though, is they have been brutal from start to finish on the execution scores. You know, sometimes you just never know how they're going to come out judging. and sometimes it can loosen up a little bit as the meet goes along, but they have not at all. So kudos to them for that. And remember, the dismount that he fell on was dramatic, but he also had that error right at the top.
Ran out of gas.
Ran out of gas. That's got to hurt. Yeah, 12-6.
Ouch.
Okay, so this is the moment you've been looking forward to. Brody Malone finishing on high bar, and you see that graphic right there as we check out the Prevagen memorable moment, a world champion.
Unbelievable. World champion. He had lost to Daiki Hashimoto. Took a picture of him, pinned it to the high bar in his gym so he could see the guy that he had to chase and catch, which he did in 2022 to become the best in the world on that event.
Prevagen memorable moment. Brody Malone comes down to this, his final rotation of the night, and it is on high bar. He would need better than 12.35 to be in first after this effort.
Well, he could have done that when he was a level 7 gymnast, when he was just a kid. But he won't. Most critical element happens right after this. He'll do a handstand and then right into this major release. Oh, so challenging. Now, buckle up, folks. Beautiful. Another one done in tucked position. Oh my goodness. Can you say stacked? Well, if you weren't a gigantic Brody Malone fan before this, you better be now. All around the world, they're going to be looking at this comeback, not just here.
Wow! Oh!
And that is the dismount right there. That's what he ripped off on and destroyed that knee. Oh my goodness.
And the first emotion really from Brody all night right there, man. He wanted that one.
Look at that, man.
That exact routine right there. Copy, paste that into the Olympic finals on high bar. That could very well be a gold medal routine.
And I said at the World Championships, Dickie wins gold. I said, I hope Brody's watching. And Brody texted me and said, I'm taking notes, John.
Brody Malone, did you ever go away? Were you ever injured? Doesn't look like it tonight.
He was. He's shown me the video, and it's nasty. Beautiful. Full twisting Tkachev. It's called a Lukin, named after great Soviet gymnast Valery Lukin. And that was just one of them. The routine, start to finish, is packed. Beautiful releases in combination like that. And I think it was about a month ago, he did his first dismount on the ground. About a month ago.
Wow.
And it's the skill that took him out of the sport for over a year. Same thing, his hand ripped off in Germany. Wow.
Tim, you talk to any athlete who's come back from an injury, especially an injury a certain way. It's the mental aspect of getting over that hurdle, coming back. I mean, that short period of time, it's amazing.
Big compliments. Total team effort. Love it. And you guys killed it. And we got another day to go. And I'm proud of each and every one of you guys for stepping up, man. Good job. Good job.
Bring it in, boys.
Proud of you, boys. Let it.
1, 2, 3.
Evo!
Sam McCulloch there, 6-time U.S. all-around champ, part of the coaching team now. And that man, the expression does not change very much throughout the meet. But he just keeps putting performances together. All right, I mentioned Frederick Richard, who's had a great last couple of years. Tonight, a little disappointing to this point. So the final rotation for him over on floor. And remember, it's tonight plus night 2. It's not just tonight.
Really difficult mount. First time we've seen that done. 2.5 twisting double. That's one that he should stick, though, that combination tumbling pass, and very capable of doing just that. Looks really good, though. You know, had a big mistake on pommel horse, as you see him doing those air flares. My bet is Frederick Richard will only get better from here on out. He'll be better day 2. And then in Minneapolis, I think he'll be at the same condition that he was when he had such a huge success at his first Worlds in 2023. Big hop on the landing. Very strong routine for him, but we'll see better things to come.
14.6 the number, floor exercise. So might not have been the opening night that he was looking for. You got the second night, you got the Olympic trials. 14.9, how about the number for Brody Malone?
Yeah, unbelievable. I'd have gone higher, but
Donnell Wittenberg on parallel bars here in the final rotation just a moment ago.
And yeah, he could have been better, but I'll tell you what, he had a pretty good day himself. Landing that vault. Could have been a little bit better on floor exercise. Such a long journey for him, though. He told me after 2016, when he was left off the competitive team, was named an alternate, he basically promised me that that will never happen again. Well, he wasn't in his best shape for Tokyo, that's for sure. But a pretty solid day from Donnell Wittenberg.
Absolutely, 14.4. You see up there, upper left, into the top 3. Fifth place going into this last rotation, Colt Walker on pommel horse. We've seen a number of athletes have trouble on this.
Yeah, and it's not a great event for Colt. He's gotten much, much better on it. Had to, as I said earlier, kind of rework his gymnastics. Was a power tumbling and vaulting guy, but had an injury that really cost him a lot, but just really hard to take an event like pommel horse and turn it in from your worst event to your best event. He survives.
Survive he did, 13.65 in this last rotation, eventful. Look at the top 3 right now, and the move that Richard made and a Wittenberg made, and what that man did to close it out on high bar. Wow. The 2024 Xfinity U.S. Gymnastics Championships, brought to you by Core Hydration. Whatever wellness journey you're on, you have to start somewhere. Start at the core. By Nike, introducing the Nike Air Max DN, featuring dynamic air. The next generation of air technology is here. Air Max DN, feel the unreal. By Prevagen. And by Xfinity. Stream sports from the best seats in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. So the opening night closes out. Brody Malone sensational. How about the move Frederick Richard, Donnell Wittenberg made in the final rotation with the mistakes of others?
Yeah, unbelievable. And, you know, Brody Malone, that score, the world champion last year, Daiki Hashimoto, scored an 86.132 at his best.
And tonight's best seat in the house highlight presented by Xfinity, certainly from this man.
Oh, yeah, Brody Malone. It's like just nonstop today. My jaw was dropped throughout the evening.
Xfinity keeps gymnastics fans in the zone with a connection you can rely on. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity because it's only live once. Brody Malone leads the way. He's standing by with Zora.
Brody, about a year ago, you had to relearn to walk again. Now we're standing here talking about gymnastics. What was it like to compete all 6 for the first time in a long time?
It was amazing. First and foremost, I have to give all the glory to God. He is the only reason that I'm here standing right now and I was able to compete and do well tonight. I give all the glory to him. It was a long recovery process, but with his help and with the help of my family and my teammates, I'm standing here competing, able to do all around tonight. So I'm just super grateful.
You didn't just do all around. You're at the top after day 1. When did you realize that that was a reality?
I mean, coming into it, I always want to keep it in the back of my mind that it's reality. That I mean, I want to be the most competitive guy here. I want to be the top guy. So, I mean, but going into the competition, you can't think about that. You have to just come in and do your job and hit your routines. And that was my approach and ended up working out.
We'll see you Saturday.
Thank you.
Zora, thanks. He said he didn't just come here to compete. He came here to win. And there's another night left for the men. That does it for day 1 of the men's competition. Remember, you can watch all the routines at the USA Gymnastics YouTube channel after the broadcast. For Tim Daggett, John Roethlisberger, Zora Stevenson, and our entire NBC Sports crew, I'm Terry Gannon saying so long for now from Fort Worth, Texas, and the 2024 Xfinity U.S. Gymnastics Championships.